Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 774A, and today's date is September 24th, 2015, and the title of this episode is The Economy is Not Improving, Regional Fed Survey Flashes Collapse. Now, before I get started, I just want to make an announcement. Tomorrow, Friday, I'll be uploading an interview with Stephen Lenman. We discussed Ukraine, Syria, fascism. If you're on the X22report.com email alert system, you will get an email. If you signed up to the YouTube channel X22 Report Spotlight, YouTube should send you an email that it was uploaded. If not, you can come right over to YouTube, type in X22 Report Spotlight. It will bring you right to the video. Or you can come over to the X22report.com site. You will see the video on the right-hand side. Just scroll down a little bit, look over to the right, and you'll see that video. Let's get right into the economic collapse financial news. We are going to head right out to France because President Hollande has been telling us that everything in his country is fine, the economy's doing great. If we go back to the year of 2013, 2014, he told us that unemployment is completely under control and it will be going down. Well, guess what? It hasn't. France has seen its joblessness ranks rise 36 of the 39 months by 648,000. That brings them to 3.571 million. This is the highest number of people that are completely unemployed in France which they ever had. So everything he told the people, everything that he was saying that everything is improving, was a complete lie. It is the opposite of what they tell us. Now, here in the United States, they are continually telling us that everything is fine. Unemployment is at 5.1%. And don't worry, there are no layoffs. But every time we look, we see more and more corporations laying off. Western Forge, Colorado Springs, 150 people. Oakland Financial Corp, 300. Kiklos, Bering International, 177. And TransCanada, they have just been informed this week that there are more job cuts coming. But the big shocker is Caterpillar. I mean, they're going to be laying off 10,000 more people. I mean, what is going on here? We know what's going on. This system is crumbling apart. Does this seem very familiar to 2008? When during the summer, they kept it very quiet though, there were lots of layoffs. Lots of people losing their jobs, but they were telling everyone everything was fine. Well, we're looking here and we see Caterpillar right now is doing about $1.5 billion in cost cutting, which of course includes getting rid of people. The company finally admitted that it can no longer pretend reality doesn't exist. They're not making the sales. Their sales and revenue are falling apart, and they have been for 33 months. It has not gotten any better, and it won't. Where, you think all of a sudden everything's just going to improve? Absolutely not. The trend is down. This complete market, this complete economy is central bank driven. They can't create sales out of thin air. They can create bubbles to make it look like it. But when we come down to the nitty gritty, what do we see? No, these companies can't make it anymore. And they keep cutting, slashing, buying back their own stocks. Eventually, this will end. They're continually using the propaganda that home sales are doing much, much better. And we see new home sales now surge to the highest since February of 2008. Well, we know what happened in October of 2008 going forward. So right now they're telling us there's 522,000 new homes sold in August. And this is out of nowhere. And they're saying this is a complete recovery. You see, everything is fine. But then we look and something doesn't make sense. Existing home sales are plummeting. Lumber sales are plummeting. Prices are continually moving down. Now, if new construction is increasing so much, what is the problem here? The problem is this has been manipulated. How? How do you say? Just because these pending new home sales are showing that they're in a surge doesn't mean these sales will go through. And they do this a lot. A lot of these contracts will be canceled. But to put this in context, and when we look at the new home sales, and if we go back in time to 2004, 2005, 2006, we were between 1.2 million new homes and 1.4 million. Where are we right now? Oh, we're about 480,000 new homes. We're not even close. When we came down to the lowest point in 2010, we were at 350,000. Does this look like a recovery to you? No, it doesn't. We're not even close. But they're using it to convince you that we are in a recovery. And when we look at the real indicators of, lumber, the demand, the prices, why is that continually dropping if construction is improving? There's a disconnect once again. And where are these people moving from? Because existing home sales, they're falling apart. And we know the people coming out of college, they can't even pay back their student loans. So when you put it all together, it's manipulated and it's fake. And that's a fact. We see Citigroup right now will be pulling out of Massachusetts retail banking market in January, closing 17 branches. Well, if we're in a recovery and everyone's working, everyone should be putting their money in the bank. What's going on? Well, we are seeing right now there are many different indicators showing us that we are far from a recovery whatsoever. Durable goods, new orders dropped 2% month on month in August. The biggest drop since March. 7 months of declines, flashing, guess what? A complete collapse of the system. And then we have the regional Fed survey, flashing red lights all over the place. We see Dallas, Richmond, New York, Philly, Chicago, Kansas City, all showing negative for 6 to 7 months in a row, depending on which Fed. Something not seen outside of a recession. This is a complete collapse of the system. So durable goods, flashing a red signal we're in a recession. Manufacturing, flashing a red signal that we're in a recession. The Fed regional survey, flashing all over the place that we are in a complete and utter collapse of the system. And we have to remember, Empire Manufacturing, declining, down, negative 14. So what does this mean? This means this system right now, it's falling apart. It's being ripped apart at the seams. They can't hold it together. I mean, we take a look at the stock market and the high-frequency plunge protection team. They did what they could, but they just couldn't push this market up. Every day, we see it hovering in the negative range. I mean, at one point, it was down almost 300 points. But we're seeing this happen a little bit at a time as we move forward here. And if we look at Asia, we look at Europe, not any better. And we're seeing that this is really taking its toll on millions of Americans. Right now, they're rating their retirement savings just to survive. 30 million Americans in the last 12 months tapped retirement savings to pay for an unexpected expense. Why? Because they didn't have the cash. This undercuts financial security and underscores the need for every household to maintain an emergency fund. But many people cannot. Many people are living paycheck to paycheck, just getting by. And sometimes they have to borrow against their retirement to pay for the electric, the gas, the water, their mortgage, their rent, their car payment, their taxes. Whatever they need it for, this is where they dip into. And when they can't get it anymore, and that's all gone, what happens? We're in a tough situation. I mean, those aged 50 to 64 say their financial situation has deteriorated. 17% use their 401k plan and other retirement savings to pay for other expenses. They just didn't have enough money coming in. So here we are right now. We're in the month of September. The stock market is continually fluctuating. We're getting all these red flashing signals. The manipulated numbers that the Fed, the U.S. government continually gives us, they're completely separate and apart from what's really going on here. And we see that Deutsche Bank, they're on the verge of a bankruptcy. I mean, the Deutsche Bank representative, analyst, is saying that this complete market is driven by the Federal Reserve. That's it. Of course, we know this. But coming out of Martin Armstrong, we see Deutsche Bank is quietly being talked about in every circle. It kind of reminds me of Lehman, where they said, everything's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. And we're starting to see rumors that since Deutsche Bank has failed their U.S. regulatory stress test, which was followed by the resignation of its head in June, a collapse of Deutsche Bank is profound and very likely to impact Europe, to the point where everyone is calling it behind the curtain a new Lehman moment. Will this be the black swan? Because if, and I said this before, if Deutsche Bank goes down, it's going to affect Germany. And Germany was the pillar of strength for the European countries. And if Deutsche Bank falls, it will affect Germany, and this will have a domino effect all across Europe. And this is going to be a major problem. And this is going to completely destroy the system, and it will spread across into the United States, into Canada, into Australia, because you have to remember Deutsche Bank has trillions of derivatives, and this will start a cascading effect. I mean, in Brazil right now, we see their currency is in complete free fall after low consumer confidence. People around the world right now are saying that this whole system, we're not confident in it. The way everything works today is not working, especially for the people. It might be working for the elite, the central bankers, the corporations, who are getting those hefty, nice bonuses, where the Fed is giving out free money to those bankers and corporations and government employees. But the everyday man on the street, everyday woman on the street, not feeling it whatsoever. Families are struggling today. Albert Edward in Societe Generale believes that the Federal Reserve should lower its benchmark rate below zero during the next economic downturn. He's saying the next U.S. recession will probably arrive a lot sooner, and I'm going to say the next U.S. collapse of the entire system will arrive sooner than most investors expect, and will likely see more desperate monetary experimentation from the Fed. That I do agree with. We will see increased printing of currency, and this will be put into overdrive, because this system can't continue on like this. I know everyone believes it can, that it will go on forever, that they'll just keep going the way they're going. But from everything that we're looking at, from all the indicators, it's getting worse and worse and worse. And we're seeing layoffs accelerating from the beginning of this year. Soon, there's going to be so many people out of work. The printing of currency just to keep the government operational for all the programs they provide is going to skyrocket even more than we've seen. I mean, we've seen the debt go from, in 2008, 8 to 9 trillion, all the way up to 18. Well, forget it. This is going to go from 18 to about 50 trillion in no time. And as we see across the world, people are dropping the dollar. They're not using it. They're taking it out of reserves. And those dollars are coming back to the United States. And as they create more of this currency, that means more dollars are in circulation. More dollars in circulation means the value of the dollar decreases. When the value of the dollar decreases, we see inflation. We see prices of products. Things you need every day, like food. It goes up. We're seeing it today. Food prices have skyrocketed. Go back 10 years. And salaries have gone down. Again, another disconnect. And we know that this system will not be able to survive because we see what the U.S. government central bankers are doing right now. They're diverting the blame off of them. They're moving it to other countries. This is what they're trying to do because they know when this system comes down, they don't want to be blamed for any of this. They want to restart it later on. And they want to make sure that you don't understand what central banking is, how damaging it really is to the economy, to the people. Yes, it makes them very, very wealthy because they steal the natural resources from all the countries. But to the everyday person, it doesn't help them whatsoever. We see Russia and Japan. They're going to be creating a green corridor to boost trade. And we have to remember all these countries that are starting to make deals with Russia, China, they realize when this system completely collapses and they're not dependent on the dollar anymore, they still need to have trade. They need to look to other countries. And this is what they're doing right now. They're making sure they're diversifying. So right now, Moscow and Tokyo have resumed talks aimed at easing custom procedures. They want greater economic cooperation. They also discussed exiting existing and planned projects in agricultural and medical industry. The Green Corridor Initiative is primarily in Japan's interest. The agreement that they're working on will improve Japan's business presence in Russia by creating investment projects and increasing access to Russia's agricultural goods on Japanese and Asian markets. So we see at this point in time that what they're doing is they're making sure that when this system collapses, they are prepared for it. And we're seeing many, many countries do this at this point. And as time goes on, many more will do this. And we're seeing that this country we're in, right now, the United States, where I'm specifically speaking, we see that the unemployment is nowhere near 5.1%. I mean, retail sales at this point are way, way down. This holiday season is going to be a complete disaster. Now, do I know when exactly this collapse is going to occur? No, I don't. And I've said this many times that I don't know. I don't have a specific date. But what I do know is when I look at these indicators and I look at the facts. And when I say facts, I'm talking about the hard evidence of what's really going on here. You cannot deny it that something is about to happen. Now, of course, we're going to have those people out there saying, no, that's ridiculous. It's the same people that said this back in 2008. Now, We can either listen to them, which most likely they're trolls and part of the government, telling us that everything's going to be okay, that these are all conspiracy theories. In 2008, there is no recession. We're not forecasting recession. Remember, the Fed told us this. And all those people were out there saying, yes, the economy's fine, everything's going to be okay. But guess what? It wasn't. This time, it's going to be much, much worse. This time, there's no way out of it. This time, we can either look at what we've been doing and what we've been looking at, or we can listen to those people who are paid by the government to tell us otherwise. Well, I'm going to go with the indicators. I'm going to go with what I'm seeing with my own two eyes, with what I'm researching and seeing and understanding, and how it mimics other downturns like 2008, the Great Depression, 2001. And we see they're doing the same thing over and over. And it is falling apart. No doubt about it. It is a fact. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thank you.